Hello everybody and welcome here at Tornos, Moutier, Switzerland. Today we are here to host our fourth and last webinar about the MultiSwiss concept. And for this I meet today Rocco Martoccia, who is Head of Product Management Multispindle. Rocco, can you tell us why we are here today?
Hello Gilles, thank you for the introduction. Today you are here to conclude this series with the last but not least important topics of Multispindle. It's money. And the goal of today is to see who are the main levers to reduce your cost and increase your market share. Okay, so let's go deeper in the application to see who are the levers to monitor and influence the cost of the part. So you start from the selling price of your part. We have the overall cost and of course your margin. If we split the overall cost in four main families, who are the machine cost, setup cost, material and tooling cost, and operator cost. Let's go deeper in the machine cost. Of course, the first one is the machine price, then the depreciation, including interest rate, the maintenance, and floor space. All those are fixed costs for your machine. Then you have the setup cost, who include specific tooling needed for the part, the programming, and the setup time. The material and tooling include the cost of the material to produce the part, as well as all the cutting tool costs, insert, drill, and so on, the consumable. And finally, the operator cost, who are the costs you need to make and produce the batch. So how to increase the margin? Actually, you have two different solutions. The first one is to try to reduce the overall cost for production of the part. And the second one is increase the productivity of your machine, basically the part output. Based on the part volume you focus to produce, those factors are more or less efficient to work on in. What is important to keep in mind is that if you reduce something in the overall cost, you just have an influence on that specific segment. But if you are able to increase your productivity and part output, you will have an impact on all four segments. Under you see the four segments calculate based on a batch of part 20,000 components. You can see they are quite well balanced. Of course, the material and insert, depending on the type of machining you have to do, could change. But we can see quite well balanced position. In order to really see who are the main levers, we have to put some data inside. So first of all, you put your own data. That means how many operators per machine you use. What is your depreciation, 5 years, 3 years, depending on the company policy, the interest rate, the cost of the floor space, and the cost of technician, including all the idle cost. Setup, actually we can say that usually multispindle is on average 20% longer to make a setup due to the fact that we have more collet. For the rest, all the tooling is the same as a single spindle. You can preset offside the machine. And the other important point is the cost of all the special tooling. If you have a special attachment or special tool who are needed basically to run the part, those are counted in setup. Of course, for multispindle, the collet cost is a bit higher because we have 6 or 8 collet, but for the rest, they are the same. But the big difference is when you want to match the same output on single spindle, you need to buy this startup equipment a few times, like 4 times. So at the end, it will become more expensive than on multi. Next one is the material and tooling. On those simulations, we have admitted that they are more or less the same, even considering that normally with the hydrostatic technology that we use in multi-spindle, we normally use less consumable tool. We also have shorter remnant, but on the other hand, we have a higher cost for bar preparation for the 616 machine. But all in all, we admitted that they are same cost. Operator production cost. So here, basically we need 2 times more operator, but as we produce 4 times more parts, at the end is like we need half the operator to produce the same amount of part. So this makes a gain of 100%. What is the pivoting point? Pivoting point basically is where it becomes more convenient to work with multi than a single spindle. And based on various scenarios, is always around 20,000 parts, more or less. So that means all the parts shorter, all the batch shorter than 20,000 is more convenient on single spindle, and higher than 20,000 is more convenient on multi-spindle. But keep in mind, you also need to consider that if we are in a family of parts, for instance, if you have 5 times 5,000 parts, they can be considered as a unique batch, because you don't need to do a complete turnkey, just change some program, or so no impact in cost and in setup time. On conclusion, usually the multi-spindle investment is higher, but as soon as you have more than 20,000 parts to produce, the price per part becomes cheaper. And the other big advantage is the throughput to produce your batch is faster. So here to illustrate this, I took an example based on those parameters. And you can see on the screen with the same parameter, that means the machine 4 times more expensive, but 4 times faster, same cost for the operator, same cost for the floor space. We see on the middle that the 20,000 part, you see the price per part 58 cents versus 58.5 cents is about the same. And the column on the right side basically is how many single spindle you need to produce, to have the same capacity in terms of production. So here you can see that if you go with a small batch, like 5,000 parts, on the left side, we see that the purple color that is representing the cost of setup is so high that is really the driver. So for all companies making very short batch and changing completely setup, of course, it's always more convenient to go with a single spindle machine, because this is the position who has the bigger impact on the price per part. And you can see the price per part is 1.7 for the MultiSwiss and 1.5 for the single spindle. On the 20,000 part, we have the break-even point, I will say. And when you go higher, like 200,000 parts, now the setup time is no longer very important. There are other parameters like the cost for operator who are the driver. And you can see that for this kind of volume, we have a gain of 20% if we go with MultiSwiss, even considering the same parameter. On the right column, the multiple single spindle solution, it will be always more expensive than one single solution, single spindle solution. The reason is that the cost for material and fixed cost and operator for production are always the same, but you have the setup with done multiple times. So this is why it's always more expensive to go with multiple single spindle versus a single spindle solution. Conclusion. So to get a better margin, it's always better to try to increase the productivity. To keep in mind that even if the machine investment is higher, the price per part is lower as soon as you have 20,000 parts to produce. Time to deliver the batch is faster with MultiSwiss, even with a small batch. That finally you need less floor space and operator to produce the same quantity of part. And the fact that today with the new technology, flexibility, precision of a machine between a single spindle and multi-spindle are very close, and you no longer need to have very high volume to invest on multi, speaking about 1 million parts or so. By going in multi-spindle technology, you at the end have a better price per part, and this can also help you to gain market share and consolidate your position in the market. So if you are interested to see the real figure with your own data, feel free to contact us, and we will build a scenario based on your own parameter. Thank you very much for your listening.
Rocco, many thanks for your detailed explanation. We will now take the opportunity to answer your questions. So please don't hesitate to write down your questions in the chat function of the webinar platform, and we will come back to you